This is a brief demonstration of the Advanced SuperAbrasives 2Dress dressing machine software. It's a new version that is optimized for a touch screen, but it also works with the older versions of the machine. If you'll notice at the bottom left corner that there is an encoder readout display for the X, Y, angle, and in-feed encoders, and below that you'll see the current zoom level setting. The zoom level setting can be modified by pressing the buttons in your top right corner. They are your zoom in and zoom out buttons. I'm going to press the zoom in button and you'll notice at the bottom left corner that the zoom level changed from 0.7x to 1x. At the bottom right of the screen there is a arrow that changes the geometry focus. We'll come back to that here shortly. In the top left corner, you will see a ASI logo. If you click on that, it brings up a new window that has different tabs at the top. We'll start off with this home tab, as it is the default tab that comes up. You see you have an option to select to display a circle on the screen. You can check that or uncheck that. Change the circle radius by entering a dimension into this field here, and if you create your circle, it'll be that radius. You have the ability to mirror. We'll come back to that as well. That's for when you bring up a predefined shape or a DXF out of a CAD package. You have the ability to toggle the crosshairs, so you can turn the crosshairs on and off. You also have the ability to turn on the angle, and you enter your angle in this field. You can enter whatever angle you want to be displayed. We'll change it to a 30 degree. That displays a 30 degree. I'll go ahead and close this window for you. You can see now there's an angle displayed on the screen. We can unselect that, and we'll go ahead and select the circle, and I'll show you that as well. So you can see there's a circle displayed on the screen. The clear parts, also for when we display a wheel shape. We'll come back to that here in a minute. On the new tab, this is where most of the work's done. You have predefined wheel shapes. On this left column, you have your hurdle, your 1A1, your 1D1, your 1E1, 1F1, 1V1, 1Q1, 1M1, 1L1, 1EF1, a double radius drill wheel, and a triple radius drill wheel. And you also have the ability to bring in a DXF file from a CAD package. So if there's something that's not here on the shape, you have the ability to draw it and bring it in. So for just as an example, I'll go ahead and make a hurdle wheel shape. We will change some of the dimensions. We'll make it a 1/2 inch wide, 100 thousandths nose radius. We don't want a radius there, we want it to be a sharp corner. I'll make this a 20 degree angle. And now we can select millimeters or inches down here. Obviously I'm working in inches, so I'm going to leave it in inches. You can press this calculator button. What that does is it pops up the Windows calculator, so you can use it if you need to do math for the fields. And if we press this create button down here, it creates that on the screen. Now back to the geometry point of focus that I talked about earlier with these arrows on the bottom right of the screen. If you push the arrows, click the button for the arrow, it changes the focus of where it's looking at. So to do radius, you want to make sure that we have the shape centered. So we'll go to there to bring the wheel in to show the radius. We'll go back to the ASI logo in the top left corner and click it. And then you'll see that we have, if we go to home, we have the ability to mirror that I talked about earlier. So if you press mirror, I'm going to turn the circle off. I forgot to turn it off. And then we go close, it will flip that shape around the other way. So here I'll go back and mirror it again. And you'll see that it's indexed the other direction. If we go to the new shape and say we're happy with that shape and we want to save it as a part number so we can come back to it later, we may call this for example, we give it a part number of like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can hit save. And what happens then is that if we come back, say we have a different shape in here at some point, if we go into our 1234, it will automatically update the fields back to that, and when we create it, we'll have that one, and it'll always be saved with those dimensions. So going back to the ASI logo, I had mentioned that we'd come back to this home tab and that we'd use this clear part. If you press that, now when you go back, that shape that we had brought up, the predefined shape, is now gone. So going back to the ASI diamond in the top left corner, under our options page, we have how many decimal places you want to have displayed. If you want the this is only for the theta encoder or the angular encoder. We can display it as a decimal if we'd like, and if we press save, you'll see that it's a decimal. It's -6 degrees. We could put 1 decimal place behind it by entering 1 in there and pressing save. Then we'd have, you can see that we're at -5.8 degrees in the bottom left corner. The display readouts is metric. That changes the units to metric units. Touch keyboard, that's for the touch screen. You can use it in the non-touch screen. If you go ahead and save that, it gives you the ability to enter it pops up this touch keyboard, which gives you the ability to enter the numbers without having to use the keyboard. And then the diagnosis files for troubleshooting, that's not necessary. The camera properties is for initial setup, it's not necessary. You also have the option to close the program from this screen, and that's all on that screen. But then you have the advanced tab at the top, which is password protected. There's only stuff there for the initial setup by the OEM.